Welcome, guys, to this episode of Beyond the Close, where we will explore our first full month running paid ads, launching our new program launch, and we cracked the 100.
We cracked the 100. We haven't met Millie, but we've met Hundy.
Hundy. We've raised the bat. We've raised the bat.
Yeah.
So
Not a bad start.
In cricket, raising the bat is when you score 100
runs.
You raise the bat. You get 100 runs.
You get $100.
$100 and 100 runs. Because
Not
I
bad.
know you love cricket.
I love cricket. I couldn't think of anything better to do with my time than to watch cricket.
Yeah. It's definitely one of my favourite pastimes, and I'm hoping at some point I can convert you on a summer's day, sitting down to watch the Boxing Day Test.
Might grow on me. Let's see.
Let's put it on the vision board.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So we're actually here not to talk about cricket. We're here to talk about what we learnt from launching and scaling a new offer and getting it off the ground. So
Yeah.
my experience, a lot of my experience is in sales and sales management leadership. I've had a business. I've scaled a business that was many years ago. And it's really the first time I have launched and scaled an offer of my own. And we're going to go right back to sort of mid-May where we started. So we're now in, I guess, full mode or active mode. We had a pilot in May. We launched the pilot, and now we've refined, we've tweaked, and we're going full out.
Yeah.
Got the full program.
It's a real different journey. And like just to give context as well, because I think for a lot of the listeners who maybe haven't listened to other episodes, if you're just joining us, so we had a baby just over 9 months ago as well. So it was kind of like the first foray back into the workforce from maternity leave was like, let's launch this offer. Let's launch this brand new business and launch this offer. And for anyone who has launched a particularly like a coaching program before, there's so much to it, and it's something that Chris had been working on. You've been working on this since I've known you, and I've known you for a couple of years now. So to get it all together and actually turn it into something that is will help people get the results, because you've got so much knowledge. So I feel like you've had to take 3 years to just condense down the knowledge to the bits that people need to actually get them the result. So that was probably the biggest part. But then, of course, we launched it to the market, and it's been a
great success. It's been a great success in my mind. Certainly by, there's many businesses out there that have, will put ours to shame, and so it's we're sort of measuring. It's us versus us. But we are very stoked. We had 18 students that joined the pilot program. We then had 16 last month that joined, and then sort of in between
There's been a few in between.
There's been a few in between.
Yeah.
So I'm only up with the June
We haven't got the
numbers
total
because they're
stats.
fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
And so lesson number one is know your numbers a bit better. But when you're spinning so many plates, I've just got my dashboard so I can see we had 16 sales in the month of June.
July.
July. There it is. Business owner,
Today's
parents,
the first of
sleep
August.
deprived. So July. And it's, yes, you're right. I did have this offer ready to go. A couple of years ago, we started a similar offer, and I think it's interesting to think about. I launched it. We launched paid ads. We ran paid ads straight from nothing.
Yeah.
So my business partner and I at the time, we started it, Benny, and we had a consulting business, and we had a sales training company, and our vision was to kind of build them together. But we launched paid ads, and the thing that happened at the time, it didn't actually work. It didn't work. The
Well, it
ads weren't
did.
working.
It did.
No, the ads didn't work. So the offer worked, like the stuff that we teach worked, but
But also, you were
business didn't
getting
work.
students. I spoke to one of your students at the time. So it worked. It was just probably not the right type of prospect that was coming through.
That's right. You did speak
Yeah.
to one of my students. Yeah, we had some success, but on the whole, compared to what we have now, it just didn't work. And so, interestingly, there's some lessons, and I think it's good to go through lessons and reflect. And I think the big lesson I've found is what we have now that I didn't have a couple of years ago. Besides having you by my side and powered together and working together and energizing each other and supporting each other. I didn't have an organic social media presence, and we certainly didn't have a Facebook group, and I personally had zero going
Yeah.
on. I wasn't
So
posting.
let's
I was
talk,
so busy.
maybe we talk about what we did to get, because 18 people in a pilot program was pretty, I mean, we were pretty impressed with that. We're pretty happy with that. So maybe we step through the
steps at the start.
strategy that we had to actually make that happen.
For sure. So it all started with Shani saying, we need to start a Facebook group. And and this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but, never got around to it. And this is a few months before we actually started the pilot program. So we decided to open a Facebook group. At the time, we were recruiting, and we wanted a place to sort of have our candidates so we could send them updates on job, sort of what was happening in the job market, keep them engaged, and really build a talent pool at the time. That was the initiative, and to build a community.
Yeah, well, and that had always been something that I'd struggled with recruitment, was you meet all of these candidates and it's not like, recruitment gets a really bad name because recruiters don't get back to you, which, some recruiters just don't get back to you because they don't care, but for the most part, they care. They're just dealing with a lot of people. And it's actually, I've said this a few times, like we get anywhere from 500 to 1,500 applicants per role, and I'm recruiting 10 roles a month. Like there's no way that I can one-to-one engage with all of those people and give them everything they need, because the reality is that there's only a small portion of those people who are actually suitable for the jobs that I'm hiring for, and my clients pay me to hire great people for them. So I'd always wondered what was a way that we could still give value to all of those people rather than just having them sit in our database. And I know the struggles that people have trying to find a job, but I'm not a paid career coach, so I need to focus my time elsewhere. But I also wanted to create a way that we could give them value and we could support them in a way that was leveraged. And so that was part of creating the Facebook group. The goal was not like, we're going to create this Facebook group. And this is probably a big lesson as well for us. I think a lot of people create a Facebook group, or they go about a certain strategy with the intention of bringing in leads. And that was never our intention. It was just to create a space where we could build community, we could give value, and connect with all of these people that we were meeting. And so that's where we were coming from with starting the Facebook group. Obviously, it's resulted in really great results for the pilot program. So really what we started with was just starting the Facebook group. I scheduled out a whole heap of content that was just value add content. There was no calls to action whatsoever in the Facebook group. I think we've only ever done 2 to this day. And they're like pretty soft calls to action. But yeah, we've probably generated figures. What do you reckon from the Facebook group so far?
From the Facebook group, not including placements, so just for the training business only.
Training. Yeah.
I don't know, 50, 60K.
Be 60 at least, because we made 60 from the pilot program.
Yeah, so 60K, 60, 70, yeah.
I think a bit
plus.
More. But yeah, so it was all about, just adding value. And then we were running some live trainings as well, which I think people really enjoyed.
So honestly, it's just literally there's been no big strategy behind it. And I've been intermittent with the trainings, but I sort of drop in there. And so now I'm focused on getting more consistency. I'm going to run a training every Thursday. We're running training tonight.
Yeah.
And we're going to, display value. I've been interviewing other people, closers who are doing well in the industry, setters who are doing well in the industry. Just seeing what sticks, seeing what people resonate, what resonates with people, seeing what works. and we're still learning about this whole sort of creating a community. But it feels certainly like it was a perfect platform for us to launch a business. And when I reflect back to a couple of years ago when we started running paid ads to a new offer, there was none of that. It was just a flat-footed, there was no foundation to run.
There was no brand.
There was no brand. Yeah, it's a great. That's what I was looking for.
That's a great word. Yeah,
it's a great word. Thanks for that. There was no brand, and also personal brand. So we weren't running. I wasn't running a personal brand. I was not posting. I was running paid ads, but you go to my social media and it was still kind of pretty random personal stuff.
Yeah.
So those are the two kind of things that really, I think, with paid ads. Paid ads are like fuel, but to fuel something, you need to already have a fire.
Yeah.
So the paid ads at the time, there wasn't really anything happening. There was a really good offer, and it was going to get great results, but it just didn't land. And then the messaging at the time as well. I think we've really shifted the messaging now with our ads, our advertising at the time. Back in those days, it was very much get rich quick scheme, kind of magic pill type sort of advertising, and that was bringing in the wrong types of people. So the messaging on the ads has shifted. And to be honest, like this time I was a bit nervous running ads. I was like, because of the people we were getting on calls last time, a couple of years ago, they just weren't the right fit. Yeah. And so it would be unethical for me to try to sell them and work with them because they weren't capable of getting the result. And so I was a bit concerned about that this time. The thing that really gave me confidence was our pilot program, the types of people we brought through the pilot program. Absolutely our avatar, absolutely the best types of people. Shout out to everyone who is in the pilot program, who's still in the group, who's showing up every week, who's getting results, who's role-playing, they're booking role plays out of session, they're connecting, getting gigs, earning money, and just...
They're crushing it.
Killing it.
Crushing it. And they're just a joy to be around as well. I actually really look forward to the calls. I feel like they're all my buddies now. It's we couldn't have had, that's something that we probably recognized really early on was, and I don't know, like I'd love to get your thoughts on why you think it ended up working out that way, like whether it was our strategy in the Facebook group or what it was, but somehow we ended up with this group of people who all seem to have really closely aligned values and attributes, and they're kind of like our perfect avatar. We couldn't have asked for a better group of people to work with initially. So I'd love to get your thoughts on how we did that, or whether we just fluked it.
Maybe a fluke. There's elements of luck, but preparation meets opportunity. What we're putting out is really good. I think we attract, if the Facebook group grew organically. So, hey, kudos. Are we at 1,000 yet?
No, we're so close, I'll tell you.
So the goal at the start of the year was 1,000 for the whole year.
Yeah.
And
I had a few goals. I'm going to get a bit of self-promotion here. I had a few goals at the beginning of the year because I just had Indy. And I think it was 1,000. Oh, my God. You guys need to go and join our Facebook group. We're at 998. If we get 1,000 by the end of this, I'm going to give someone a free entry to our course.
A scholarship?
A scholarship, yeah, on me. Take it out of my commission, babe.
Oh, my gosh.
But, yeah, one of them was to get 1,000 people into the Facebook group by the end of the year, and we're 998, 1st of August. We're very close. The other one was to do 12 placements for the year, and I think I did 12 placements in like my first month back. By the second month.
That's right. Yeah. So we exceeded our targets there, and so you've certainly exceeded the
some
goal
goals
there. So and where I was going with that was that the group is providing value. We're in a community. We're in a sort of an industry which is known for being having some charlatans. There's a lot of guys out there who are full of shit. And
that was eloquently put.
Yeah, full of shit. It's a low barrier to entry. You don't need a qualification. You don't have to go to university to get a degree to say that you're a sales trainer or you're a recruit, or you place people, or you're a consultant. You don't need that. So it's such a low barrier to entry. So anyone with, anyone can start up a Facebook group and call them a sales coach or a recruiter, and so there are a lot of these groups out there with a lot of and there's a lot of programs and things out there that are promising results that are just unrealistic and for most people. And so it's a cesspool. Like a lot of these Facebook groups are a cesspool of scammers and people who are trying to recruit you into a program. They're trying to sell you shit, and so one of the things that we wanted to do was really cultivate that community as well. So we were very strong on our entry rules and guidelines. If people weren't answering them, we wouldn't let them in, and we don't. And if we've got strict rules, you've got to agree to the rules. We don't have any promotion. We don't have any spamming. There's no one in the comments who, in some of these other groups, you post and then you got people in the comments saying, hey, send me a DM. Hey, sent you a DM. Hey, this, hey, that. And it's a cesspit.
Yeah.
And you don't know if it's a bot or if it's a human
fake
or
accounts.
fake, someone
so painful
in a different country, which isn't a bad thing, but sometimes that can be, they can be there not to add value. Anyway, so we wanted to create a good environment where people come in, they learn stuff, they don't get sold to, they don't get spammed. So I think from that, that has attracted a lot of good people.
Yeah.
And we provide good stuff. Like, we're good at what we do. So there's an element of you attract how you act. If you act authentic, genuine, provide good value, and what you are putting out there works and people getting results, then you're going to attract that. So I think there's some of those elements. But I do think the filters that we put on the Facebook group and being strict with not letting people in, not looking just for numbers, like not wanting to get to 1,000 in the first 2 months because it's just a vanity metric, but getting to 1,000 members who are engaged, they're vetted. We probably had, to get to 1,000, we probably, how many people? 2,000, 3,000?
We reject a lot of people. So, that makes sense.
Yeah, so the Facebook group, we'll work in the Facebook group, we're providing value, building a great community, which has provided a great platform for us to build a training business off the back of that.
So the pilot program, summing it up, it was a success. We got great students. We got great results for those students. Got great feedback on the content as well. I think that was a really big win, particularly for you. You had put so much time into creating not just content that people could go through, but actually putting the content into a framework that helps them learn. And so you got some great feedback from one of our students who's actually a teacher, which I feel like that was a really big win.
I was pretty chuffed by that.
Yeah.
Shout out James Kamali for the feedback on the training modules. And you're right, sales has been around since the dawn of time, since we were living in caves and people were selling each other on, bartering and selling, food. Hey, here's a gazelle that I've killed or a deer.
Would you like some?
Yeah, would you like some of this? And in return, give me some of those berries.
Yeah.
How many berries for that?
It's as if we're there.
And there's negotiation.
In a time machine.
So the sales have been around for a long time. So the information's there. So if someone wants to go and dive deep and read all the books and go to YouTube and really, there's information, but there's a lack of insight. So there's an abundance of information. So people are drowning in information, but they're starving for insight. And so what the training that I put together, and it did take a lot longer than expected. So, and it's still ongoing. We're still sort of putting content out. But what I think is working is that it is actionable. They're providing simple insights and they're frameworks that people can remember and they learn easily because it simplifies that topic. And I'm seeing great results from people who have no background in sales but who are picking it up really quickly, which I think is the mark of a program that's working. And it's not just showering people in information. I've done courses where you have 200 videos, there's someone reading off a Google Doc and it's just literally just you're getting showered in information, but you're not getting actionable insights. And So we're providing actionable frameworks, and so we're providing really simple frameworks that sort of break down not complicated but complex concepts. But then I'm backing activities on the back of them, so I'm making sure that we've got worksheets that people have to go and do the work. It's not like you rock up to the course, you do the videos, and then you go out. And no, you sign up, you go through the training, you do the activities, which will imprint the learning, and it gets the learning into their brain. So it seems to be working.
Yeah, it definitely is. I've heard a few of your coaching sessions. I actually heard one this morning, and I was very impressed with one of the guys who was doing a role play. And I was going to say as well, I think another mark of how well everyone in the program is learning is that they're able to apply it into different contexts. So I've listened to a few of the role plays, and I can hear that sometimes, they're not just reading off a script. Because if you get a job on an offer that's, say, you've been working in fitness, then all of a sudden you get a job on a property offer. It's like a very, very different offer, very different product. If you had a script that was specific to fitness and your whole arsenal was like just knowing that script really well, then you can't apply what was working in that new offer. And so I think what's been really cool to watch is like every week you'll give a different example. The guys who are in jobs at the moment probably use the offer that they're working on as the example, but everyone else who isn't is kind of using different examples, but they're still able to get through the call or the role play well because they're not using a script, they're using framework, and they can, insert different areas to still guide the conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's each aspect of the sales process, whether it's sort of pre-call, prospecting, persuading a buyer, setting a frame, gathering information, asking questions, giving feedback, presenting the solution, presenting the product, handling objections. They all come with like a framework. And so you're not getting a script, you're getting the framework, and you're also learning how to add to the framework. So you're learning what goes where and how to actually fill in the framework, as opposed to, hey, here's the script for this, here's a script for that. So I want people to learn how to drive the car as well as...
Yeah. You're teaching them the skills as opposed to giving them the information.
Exactly.
Teaching a man how to fish.
I'm teaching them how to think rather than... I'm teaching them how to fish.
Yes.
That's a great way
rather than giving them a fish.
And it's harder at the start as well. That is, I will say that it's harder at the start. There's a lot more time invested from the student's perspective. But I don't think there's a lot of other ways to learn this high income, high earning skill and really master it. I use the analogy of golf. You can go grab the golf clubs. If you've never played golf before, you go to the range, you're going to suck. There's no way you're ever going to be good. And you can watch all the videos on YouTube, but you're still going to suck. And you can go to the range, you could go play golf every day, and you're probably still going to suck for a long time. If you don't have expert instruction, if you don't learn how to put a swing together, if you don't have someone there as a coach who's guiding you and adapting and tweaking things and helping you, improve, giving you feedback, the feedback loop isn't there. You don't improve. You don't learn, you don't grow, you don't get better. And the same is with sales. It's a skill. It's not as much a strategy. There's strategies that you can learn, but there's the skill behind it is the key to kind of bringing those strategies to life, the scripts or the frameworks or a process. The process is the strategy. I can give you a script, but if you don't know how to communicate properly, if you don't know how to use it, if you don't have the skills, communication skills, it's going to suck. So I think role plays is another big one. I jumped on some calls with some guys early on who'd been through similar programs. They'd sort of been through a program and sort of learned a strategy. They learn a strategy. It's ultimately what had happened. They'd been given a script. They were shown how, hey, here's how a sales call works. But there was zero role play. They hadn't gone through role play, and they weren't role playing, and they to be honest, to be fair, like the communication on the phone was really poor. There's another thing we do a lot of is role play, and puts people out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. I think that alone, like the other thing I've seen, it just on the calls that I do with the students, is just sharing wins and getting them to communicate in front of the group. And I watch people come into those calls for the first time, and it's like, okay, everyone go around, share a win. And the people who've been in the course for a little while now, they're like, yep, ready to go. And you just kind of watch the newbies go, oh my gosh, I have to talk.
Yeah, they come in with their cameras off,
Yeah.
and they want to sort of sit back and they just want to absorb, and which is fair.
Yeah, totally
But
fair.
it's not the way I like to do it.
Yeah,
I one of the things when I started it, the program, I wanted to run it like a sales team.
yeah.
You rock
High-performance
in.
sales team.
You rock up to calls. You're ready with your wins. You're ready with your lessons. You're ready with your questions, and we're into it. There's no pauses. You know, hey guys, let's start with wins. Who wants to start? Boom, someone's got to win. Boom, next person's got to win. Like it's a high performing, well drilled sales team. They are prepared, and so how you do those things is really how you're going to show up throughout the day as well. And so that's how I like to run my sales teams. Is people are well drilled. People rock up to a sales meeting. It's very well oiled. It's structured. Everyone's engaged. Everyone asks questions. There's no sort of looking at each other at a screen and waiting for someone else to talk. It's just everyone is taking the initiative, contributing.
I think what that's done for a lot of people as well, if I think about especially the people who first started, and I could see them going, oh my gosh, I got to talk. It really just closes that gap, to really condenses the time for them to get to where they need to be, because it's like you turn up to a call, you're going to talk, like whether you like it or not. I mean, we would definitely, if someone was really, really uncomfortable, I'm sure we'd give them the space to do that. We haven't had that yet, and I doubt we will, because it's such a great environment that by the second call, they're not scared to turn their mic on and share their win, because like they've gotten over that fear last time, and that's not an issue anymore. But I could see for a lot of our students, if you don't get the opportunity to do that in a space where you feel comfortable and you're kind of forced, like we're kind of giving them a little push to do it, then that could go on for so long, being a fear and holding them back from doing things. So I think that's another probably big thing that I've realized, is just like even the role play sessions, the other thing that does is just condenses the amount of time that it takes for someone to get really good and really comfortable in that environment.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. If you want to get in touch with us, go to the Closers Dojo on Facebook. This is a Facebook group, free Facebook group for anyone looking to sell or build a sales team. We do sales trainings in there. We share a lot of resources. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it. And that shows through on their interviews when they're interviewing with their dream company for their dream role. You know, they're well drilled. They've been on Zooms before. A lot of these guys are coming from an in-person work setting, and so any role that they've gone for has been in person, but on Zoom it's different, and so they're prepared. They're well versed.
Yeah, let's talk about the paid ads journey now, because first month paid ads, we hit the 100, which is pretty cool. We
100K.
100K. We built a sales team rapidly. I think we've now got 4 on the sales team. That's happened Zach's been with us for a little while, but
Yep. So Zach's been with us since pretty much day dot.
Yeah.
And we've got 3 sales advisors who are awesome.
Yeah.
They're legends. And that's an interesting one to discuss, because we've part of why we've got so many at the moment is because we're heading away. We're going away to Europe, and we sort of one of the guys is also going to be away, so I wanted to overhire, and so building that sales team's been monumental, because when we started the paid ads, Zach has been hustling he was hustling in the Facebook group, and then he was hustling in the CRM, and now he's he's graduated to getting inbound discovery calls booked onto his calendar, which he's loving. It's a big difference from sort of DM setting and everything that he was doing outbound. And so he's doing all of that still, but he's still getting inbound coming into his call, his calendar. So Zach was he was a part-time. We had him on part-time or casual. I think casual to start, and we've put him on full-time now, full-time employed.
Which is probably actually I want to touch on this because I feel like this is important for some of the business owners out there, because I get a lot of inquiries about, we want to build a sales team, I want to get off sales calls, I want to build a sales team, and it's just the founders at the moment kind of doing everything. And I think the thing that allowed us to bring Zach on so early is that we had that organic lead flow. Like, we were able to pay Zach from what we were doing organic, and then by the time we turned ads on, we didn't have to hire a brand new setter who had to get trained up. We had to, go through that whole process. We'd already had Zach. We already knew. We did have to, of course, still do some training because it's a bit different speaking to a paid lead than it is organic lead. But we already had Zach there, and we could just scale up his hours. So I think that's probably something, if you are kind of early days in your offer or you're just starting to scale things out in terms of building a sales team, having a strong foundation of organic before doing paid also allows you to bring in salespeople, so that when you turn on paid, you're not kind of left scrambling trying to get salespeople on and train them and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think putting paid without organic is just a big no-no. And without if you're not making sales, if you don't have a proven concept, if you don't have runs on the board already, I think running paid ads to putting petrol on, you just putting petrol on the ground without a fire. There's no fire.
Pouring petrol into a puddle. Funnel into
Okay, pouring petrol into a puddle. Yeah, you are.
I'm trying to match your analogies for this. It's falling flat. I've used a few, and you haven't been.
We can write yours down. We can maybe work on them. Yeah, we can work on them. But I like where you're going with that.
Okay, cool. That's good.
That was good.
That was on the right.
That was on
at
track.
least an analogy.
It was something. It was something. Analogies are art. They're not science. There's not a correct analogy. I mean, there's meaning in that.
Okay, let's move on. Back to building the sales team.
Yeah. So setting was something that I knew that I wanted straight away and needed, and but then I was taking calls, the initial calls. I wanted to take the first calls as well to get feedback and to give the ads team feedback on who was coming through. But then quickly, my calendar gets stacked, and I don't have time to scratch myself, and it takes me away from other things and high leverage activities. There's really not many other high leverage activities than selling. But thankfully we've got some people, two of the guys have gone through and they've completed our program, who are bought in on the program, who have gone through, they've seen the results, they love the result, they love the program, they love what we're doing, and they can sell. And the guys are really competent at selling. But the enthusiasm as well for the product is a big is what's allowed us to be able to bring on these two guys so quickly, and for those guys to hit the ground running and perform and get results, because they're not communicating about a topic that's foreign to them. They're communicating on something that they've personally purchased, they've personally put in, they've bought themselves, they put their money behind it, they've got results. And both of those guys were already closing before coming to us, and they wanted to sharpen it and improve and get better results. And so it's allowed them to improve their income and improve their skill set and everything. So that was a big lesson. I think that's really hard for a lot of business owners to replicate, because to get salespeople who are walking, talking billboard for your product. It is hard. There's one person who we've helped that had that.
Who's that?
Sammy, and Sammy G.
I'm not. I don't even know who you're referring to.
The Jimmy.
Oh yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah. Yep. No, I was thinking more recently, but yeah. I'm following now.
Jimmy was he's still there. He's absolute gun, and first salesperson for Sammy G. Killed it because it was one of his top clients.
Yeah, helps. Definitely
Absolutely
helps.
killed it. Gift of the gab.
It's not always, I think
Man
we need
of-
to have like a little disclaimer here though. Like your top clients are not always your best salespeople.
Oh, it could be the worst thing ever.
Yes.
The worst thing ever. So it was, but you are really blessed if you can have sales savagery. You know, if you've got the Venn diagram, there's three parts: sales savagery, industry expertise, and product knowledge. Like product meaning your product.
product.
So you've been a client. You've been a client.
Yeah.
So conviction, product conviction in droves, both of these guys
Yeah.
and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Industry expertise and knowledge. They know it. They know it. They're living and breathing it, as was Jimmy. And then sales, experience, knowledge, and skill set, track record. That is the holy trinity of the best type of person who can come and advise and consult and sell your offer.
Close the offer.
So it's going well. It's going well, and we're excited for the future. It's been and now that I'm off the calls, which is great, it's freed me up to do more, work more on the business, and you know, we're running events, we're doing more marketing, you know, providing more value in the Facebook group.
We've actually got a website.
We've got a website now. Actually,
I don't think
that's
it's
another
finished,
lesson.
but I mean, we've got a website.
One of the biggest lessons was it's freaking hard to sell your offer if you don't have anything online. If you're selling to a paid lead, there was no website. We didn't have a website. There was no nurture sequence prior to a call, other than a chat with Zach. And Zach was still learning. We're training Zach, and so those calls with Zach were not great.
Still good. Zach's good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've done you dirty there,
But
Zach. Technically, but there were things like getting a partner on a call. I can't imagine. Most of the objections I had at the start were, this is awesome. Like, could I go chat with my partner?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What does your partner know about this? Oh, I haven't really run it by them, but I'll walk them through it, and then ghost. See you later. So that sort of stuff is what we've been working on with Zach, is making sure that if someone's serious, someone wants to really explore it, they want to learn about this, and if it's a situation where investing in a new career option and a new pathway, committing time every week, and then eventually changing your career, he's going to have at least a conversation needed with your better half. Then they need to also either be on the call or at least be across the opportunity. They need to have seen it, and they need to sort of be supportive of it. Otherwise, and I say this with great respect, but otherwise we're not maximizing each other's time. It's not a good use of your time or my time to be on a call if you can't make a decision, if everything we're talking about has to be relayed to someone else.
Yep, makes sense. So biggest lesson for you?
Biggest lesson. This is a question without notice. Think cultivating community in your offer. I think product first, you gotta have something that works. We wouldn't be sitting here today if we did the pilot and everyone came to me and said, "Hey, dude, this is shit.
This is terrible. It doesn't
this is
work. No
bad."
one's got a job. It's like,
Or hey, like this information, it's like I could just find this on YouTube.
yeah,
Or hey, I've literally read this information in a book. Like if it's not great, if the product sucked, and if the live calls sucked.
Yep.
So I think we take that for granted. I'm taking that for granted because it's not a problem. I think in business you're always sort of going to problems. When problems are there, you're like, fuck, put a problem out. Put the fire out. The fire in the puddle.
Sorry, I just realised that was a stab at me. I was like waiting for the punchline.
You got to put the fire out with the water from the puddle.
Just stab at my intelligence.
Not your intelligence. It's like great analogy. We can. So you're always putting out fires, and it's just one fire to the next until someday you come up for air and you don't have any fires anymore, or the fires you have are not that bad. And we haven't had too many fires, but that would be a critical fire that you can't really rectify.
Start again.
Yeah, you got to start again and
that
go back to the
problem
drawing board.
exists.
So because it hasn't been a problem, it hasn't been a big thing, but I'm grateful for that. Really grateful that we've got a product that works and people are loving. And so that's probably my my learning is you can't put lipstick on a pig. The lipstick being the paid ads or being marketing, the pig being your offer. If the offer's a pig, don't put lipstick on it because it's still going to be a pig.
That's great.
And that's what I found from
insight.
the last offers that I've worked
Yeah.
on. I've worked on offers that have worked. There's been a great product. It's easy to sell. It sells itself, results, that sort of stuff. And honestly, like as the month went on last month, it got easier and easier because we got the website launched. We put some mechanisms in place pre-call to educate people on some of the questions that were coming up, just to clear up the concepts. So I built trainings on that. We got more social proof, so we were able to put more social proof up as well, give people more confidence around that. Hey, so there's a leap of faith here. The more certainty we can put, the more proof I can give them. It creates less fear, and the leap of faith feels like it's not as much of a leap of faith. It feels like if I commit myself, if I do the work, these are the results I will get.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And then second lesson is just content.
Yeah.
Just content, nurture, trust, build trust in the marketplace. People have gone through, they listen to this podcast. A shout out to anyone who's listened to the podcast, who's exploring working with us. We're grateful for you. But anyone who goes through and they listen to us and they go through the content, they have a lot more trust. And that's really what you need on a sales call. And so with pay, it's really hard because trust, you need to build it super quick. And if you're coming from a cold lead and you know there's no nurture sequence prior to it, and maybe they've gone through an asset or they've opted in somewhere and they haven't even consumed the asset, watched the video, they're just on the call because whatever that headline of the ad sounded sexy. There's not much trust there, so it's very hard to convince someone or at least get them to take action.
Yeah, that's good.
What about you, babe? What are your lessons?
I think the biggest one, I come at it so different. It's so funny to hear your perspective on the last couple of months because it makes sense. You need to be really focused on the product. But for me, the lessons are more around building the business and what we've done to allow us to get to where we are really quickly. Because I work with business, I'll head up the recruitment business. So most of the challenges I hear from people are around hiring salespeople, finding the right salespeople. I've got too many calls, not enough salespeople, not enough space in the calendar. We're holding our business back for whatever reason because we don't have an appointment setter or we don't have a closer, or I'm the founder still doing the sales calls. I don't want to do more sales calls. I don't want to follow people up, all of that stuff. So it's been really interesting going through it ourselves and just watching how I think the biggest thing for me is just assembling a sales team so quickly, being able to assemble such a great sales team so quickly. And yes, we have access to talent because of what we do and who we are. But in my opinion, as a business owner and as a leader of a business, that is one of the most important tasks or responsibilities that you have in your business is recruiting, because you're only as good as your people. It doesn't mean you have to go and do it all yourself, but just having access to that talent, I think, has just allowed us to go, all right, we need a setter, we need 3 salespeople. Done. A couple of weeks, they were onboarded. Like, it wasn't, we didn't have to go out and build a relationship with the recruiter, and like, you need to have all of that in place if you're scaling a business, because you cannot rely on just putting up a CCAD, getting hundreds of applications and trying to sort through who's good. I just think imagine what our clients who have done that before, imagine if we had everything going on, you're still on sales calls, and we didn't have the recruitment company and you had to recruit the salespeople.
Yeah. I mean, I would, it's just so, you're so busy, you don't have a time to scratch yourself. So that's where mistakes happen, because you're not thoroughly going through everyone. You don't have a proper process. You're sort of taking shortcuts to save time. Maybe hire the first guy that comes into your inbox.
Yeah.
You know, you hire a referral girl. I will say there's been a lot of work in that CRM as well, like building out the CRM, building out the systems. Like we're still very junior burger when it comes to our systems because it's startup mode, but we're working on them. We're really developing those systems, and it's been a beast of a thing. So it's helpful when you have, and it's by far the best I've built out a CRM, and I've built out a bunch of CRMs.
That's a good.
I've built a bunch of CRMs out, and if anyone, my first CRM I built out was like this project management tool called Podio, and it was I did it myself years ago in my first business, Rapid. So I think my staff, ex-staff, have PTSD about that process. But
let us know if you're watching on YouTube and you worked for Rapid PT and you used Podio.
Use Podio.
Yeah.
Podio.
Love to see in the comments.
There was 2 a.m. finishes in the office. I'd finish work and then I'd have my mind map around all the automations I wanted and the workflow. And everyone just thought I was batshit crazy, banging out about Podio because we had a spreadsheet and we moved to Podio. Eventually we implemented it and it did the job. But then I had Salesforce after that, and then Zoho, Close.io, and then multiple iterations of High Level, which is our current CRM. And it's so freaking awesome. So good.
Good stuff. All right. Biggest win? Really rapid fire because we got to wrap this.
Biggest win. I felt really proud about the 100K just in the first, but more so, I mean, it's not the financial target. It's just, it's about we're seeing wins. We're seeing our students get wins. And I just think that's a nice number to have, and it just reflects our dedication, our efforts, and what we're putting into it. And so it feels nice to see it working. And I think we've worked really hard. I think we deserve it. I think it's just the start of something beautiful and big and bloody awesome. What about you?
Yeah. It's funny because I've got a few of the students, like quite a few of the students' jobs through the recruitment company, which is awesome. But honestly, I'm getting a little bit emotional. That's so funny. Honestly, I think like the biggest win is we get the students to post #wins in the Facebook. We've got a Facebook group, like closed Facebook group with them, and they all get to post their wins. And there's been quite a few who have posted about just how much doing the course has shifted their perspective. And it's made me, I wrote a comment the other day to a few of our students, like it's made me think back to when I started investing in coaching myself. I was maybe 20 or 21 or something like that. I was working in real estate and reception, like earning 30 or 35 grand a year. And I paid, I think it was either 2.5 grand or 4.5 grand. Whatever it was like a big amount of money for what I was earning. And I remember my partner at the time was like just ripping into me saying like how stupid, like that's such a waste, like blah, blah, blah. All my friends at the time were like, what are you doing? Like, what is this weird like coaching thing that you're doing? Like, what's going on? But it just rapidly transformed my life and just totally changed the trajectory. It's like the rocket, like when it goes off course, it can end up in a totally different place. If it's slightly off course, and it's like that just little course altering moment that happened. And I feel like there's a lot of those little course altering moments that are happening in the course already. And it's so nice to see people's worlds kind of get awakened. And yeah, like one of our guys is like started a YouTube channel and he's putting all this content out there, and he's like getting all these views and all these results. And there's so much going on. And I feel like that's probably the biggest win for me, is just seeing people kind of awaken and start to work on themselves and believe in themselves and go after it.
Hell yeah. Here's to next month.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. What are the goals for the rest of the year?
I need to rewrite the goals. I need to rewrite the goals, babe. I don't know. Get engaged in Paris.
Yeah, personal goals. There it is. You heard it first. We spoke to our financial planner about this yesterday. the logical aspect of engagement planning. Through your financial.
of
Always
being
check with your
business
financial
partners.
planner before you buy an engagement ring.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Let's do it. That's it.
See you in the
We're
next. See you in the
done.
next. See you in the next episode.